Jump with Benita Bradley.
And good evening, everybody. You're watching Live Talk with Benita Bradley. I'm your host, Benita Bradley, and I hope you guys had a wonderful day. Instagram was already on, so they beat you guys on. Good evening to Instagram. Good evening to Facebook. Good evening to YouTube. And good evening to Periscope Twitter. So glad you all joined me this evening. I want to talk to you this evening. Well, first of all, happy belated Mother's Day to all of you. I didn't get a chance to see you. I rested. So happy belated Mother's Day to all the mothers, all those who stand in the gap as a mother, aunties, all of you guys. Hope you guys had a wonderful weekend and hope your day went well so far. So I really want to talk about this tonight because I think it's important. You guys let me know if this light is good for you. If the light is good, let me know. And if the sound is good, let me know. The sound should be okay, but I think I changed my lighting. I'm not sure. I think I did change it. But if the lighting is okay, you guys let me know. Let's see, Instagram. I try to put you where you can see the monitor. Instagram, if you can see this monitor right here, let me know, okay? This is your monitor right here. All right? So let me know that you can see that monitor. You should be able to see it because I'm looking at it through your camera. So you should be okay. All right. So let's get into it. Again, good evening, everybody. Listen, tonight's subject, anybody want to come on with me? I don't know if you raise your hand on here or what it is. I know on Instagram, I can add you on Instagram and let you have your say in the live discussion. I think on Facebook, some kind of way I can add you on and let you have your say in the live discussion as well, because we are live on all of these networks. So if you like to come aboard, let me know and I will let you in, okay? So I had a cough drop. Hold on. Tonight we're going to be talking about a very, 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 very important subject. We're going to be talking about love. We're going to be talking about love. And why are there so many people afraid of love? Why are so many people afraid to be vulnerable? Do you know, among the Black community, we have the highest rate of single people. We're not getting married. We're not being committed to one another. And I want to know why. I think, this is my thinking, I think it has a lot to do with fear. That's what I think. I think a lot of us have been through things in life that perhaps were not favorable. You know, we've had relationships, marriages, and things of that nature that didn't work out. Some of us put in some serious time into some of these marriages, 10, 20, 30 years. I know a couple just made 34 years married and just got a divorce. You know, so there has to be something that we're not tapping into, something we're afraid to talk about, something we are not doing, not saying, not discussing. And of course, you know, my motto on this show, we talk about what most people won't talk about. We're not afraid to talk about any subject. So the one that's really been on my mind lately has been, why are we so afraid to love? Everybody I've met so far, You guys remember, I think back in January, I tried out this dating app thing, and um hold on, let me just someone in here. Yes. Um I tried out this dating app. I actually did it as a little experiment. That's really what I was trying to say. I was just trying to see basically what was out there, what was going on in these dating streets. I'm not a dater, you know. Um, I think I don't know. Maybe I don't have the patience for it. I think that's my biggest thing. I don't have the patience for it. I don't have I just don't. So I'm not a dater. So I hadn't been on a date in a long time. So I said, well, let me try this dating app, see what's going on out here in these dating streets. So a few people had told me about a few apps. So I logged on just to kind of check them out, see what was going on the apps. And I may have stayed on the app maybe. How's my light? How's my light? My light look okay? Yeah, you're so pretty. Thank you. That's my daughter gushing over me, telling me how pretty I am. She's such a good child. That's when you raise them right. Um, but so I went on some of these apps to really just do a little research and get a feel for what was going on out there. I'm in my mid 50s now, honey. So I don't have time for all these games. I don't have time for you to still be trying to figure out what you want in a woman, what you need, what you like, what you don't like. If you can't come, to the table already mentally prepared for me, then that's probably going to be one of your biggest red flags that I'm going to notice kind of like right off the bat. I just like I said earlier, when you've gone through things and you've lived and you experienced life, and I'm not necessarily talking about a negative life, just life in general. Life happens to all of us. So I'm not talking about that you've had a bad life. You just gone through life. And then some of us that went through divorces, it wasn't necessarily, drag out divorce. We just stopped being married, we stopped being married, so we're divorced, and so all of that, I think, causes people just to be afraid to try again. And so because people are so afraid to try again, I think a lot of people are just giving up. Like, nah, I don't want to do that again. I had my heart broken before. I put my trust in somebody before, and they cheated on me, or I cheated on them and they didn't want to forgive me, or they said they forgave me, but then every time they got mad, they brought it back up and threw it in my face. It's just a plethora of reasons why we're not willing to open ourselves up to love again. Now, I want to talk about some of those reasons tonight. And I already know I'm going to have to do a 1 and 2. So what I don't finish tonight, I'm going to come back Thursday on Thursday's show to finish it, okay? Because I already know I'm just not going to finish all of this tonight. And I do have some research. You guys know when I do my research, I take it from really reputable sources. So tonight we're going to be taking research from the Psychology Today. That's our source for tonight. And we're going to go through 7 reasons most people are afraid to love. Most people are afraid of love. And sometimes they're not just afraid of, trusting someone again. They're afraid of, some people are even have fear within themselves. Like, I don't trust myself to pick right because I've picked wrong before. Men and women have those fears. I have that fear sometimes, If you've gone through a divorce or a breakup of any kind, that you was with somebody any real length of time, sometimes you're going to be a little, you're going to push back a little bit. When I decided to try those dating apps out, really, honestly, I just was kind of doing research. Honestly, you got to know me to know I was really doing research. But I did meet some interesting people, you know. And when I say interesting, uh, I don't mean interesting in a way that I'm saying I'm interested in that person or those people. But I mean interesting because everyone that reached out to me from those dating sites, every last gentleman that reached out to me said that they were ready and looking for long-term relationships. Every last one. And I thought it was, you know, um, I thought, okay, well, this might be something. I know I'm here for research, but this might actually be something. You know, all these gentlemen are saying they're looking for wives and this, that, and the other. You know, so I'm thinking, this might be something to look into. Um, Beside just looking at it from a research perspective, and I got into some conversations with some of the gentlemen, and some of them right off the bat, I'm just like, nah, you know. A few of them, it took me a few conversations, chatting with them to figure out, nah. Some of them we had a few phone calls, and no, you know, I've only met out of the people that I did meet, I only met two of them in person. Um, and however, like I said, all of the gentlemen were 50 and above, 50 and above. All of them were saying that they were ready to settle down. They were looking for a wife. They were looking, for something long term. And, but once you start talking to them and getting to know them a little bit better, I found out that that's what they're saying they're looking for is not what they're ready for. I'll say that again. What they said they were looking for is not the same thing that they were ready for. Because you can desire something, you can desire someone, but doesn't necessarily mean that you're ready for that particular person or that kind of person. And I think sometimes we get kind of, wrapped up in the outer, the exterior looks and all of that of a person without really getting to know them. You like, oh, I think I want you. I think I want to have you in my life. But then when we start having these one-on-one dialogues, then you find out we really don't have a whole lot in common. And so the conversations then for me starts to get less and less interesting. I bore easily, you know. Some of us have adult ADHD and all that kind of stuff. So, you have to keep my mind, stimulated. You have to really be able to hold an intelligent conversation, and not, just kind of lead me down a rabbit hole somewhere, and I don't know where I'm going with you. So uh, I was disappointed. Let me say this. I was disappointed to say when I saw the caliber of gentlemen that were on these sites, because some of them were well established gentlemen, and you can have everything in the world, but if you don't have um, the ability to heal from one situation before you get into another, or if you don't have the wherewithal to admit that you're still hurting from something in your past, your previous relationship, your previous marriage, or what have you, if you don't have it within you to say, I'm still hurting from that, and then you try to get into a relationship with someone who is healed, someone who has done the work, someone who has been in therapy, and did all the necessary work to heal themselves or get better or put themselves in a better position mentally or psychologically or what have you, it's not going to be long before those flags start flaring, you know. And I'm going to say this. I've done my work. I'm still in therapy. I see my therapist religiously, you know. I don't lead people on. If I'm not interested, I'll just tell you, you know, I'm not interested in you that way. You know, if we decide to be friends, then we're friends. And we both understand that we are just friends. This is not going to go any further once we decide we're just friends, you know, because um, the one thing I won't do, I never give a man a second chance to tell me or show me that he's not interested in me. You don't get a second chance to do that. Once I can feel that vibe from you that you ain't really feeling me and I ain't really feeling you, there's no need for us to keep doing this roundabout dance that we're doing, you know. Or if I'm feeling you, but you know you're not really feeling me, you know, you want something different, and I'm cool with that. But once I feel that, you could be saying, no, 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 I just got to work some things out, you know, this, that, or the third, or whatever. Give me a little bit more time. But if I'm feeling and sensing a vibe from you that no matter how much time I give you, no matter how much you say you still got to work through, at the end of the day, in my mind, you've already shown me, even if you didn't tell me, but you've shown me that, you know, I'm not really what you want. And what I won't do is put myself in a situation where I'm with somebody that really want to be with somebody else. I don't do that. You should not do that either. Okay. So I was disappointed, to say the least. What I found in the dating market is just, it's unbelievable, you know, because a lot of time we hope and we think that people of a certain age have did their homework on themselves, and you know, uh, I don't care what anybody say. If you've been married in a little time and you get a divorce, you need to go to therapy. You need to go to counseling. You need somebody to talk to. And I'm not necessarily talking about going to your pastor. And I don't have anything with that, but you need to go outside of that realm and talk to a professional, someone that's trained in psychology, trained in human behavior. And most times pastors are not. Okay. And so you need to go and hear somebody and talk to somebody that won't have an opinion either way, you know, that's going to work in your favor, but someone who is going to challenge you to do the hard work introspectively, you know. And so a lot of times when we're looking at people and we're saying, oh, I can't have you, or you're too good for me, or I'm not good enough for you, or what have you. A lot of times what we're saying is, I have not done enough work on me. But we'll throw that off on the other person and make the other person feel like it's something wrong with them. That's why we don't want them. And that's so far from the truth. Okay. So we're going to get into this research. 7 reasons most people are afraid to love. I'm interested in knowing, to the audience, how many of you can honestly say, you know, if you're single, you can honestly say, I'm still single because I'm afraid. I'm afraid. I want to love. I want to be in love. I want to give love another try. Heck, I even want to give marriage another try. But I am afraid. I'm afraid. And we have so many people that will fit in that category, but won't say that, you know? And so that's how come, like I said in my opening, in our communities, we have the largest number of single, unmarried, you know, people. And it doesn't have to be that way. So let's start out with a question. What keeps us from finding and keeping the love we want? What do you think it is? What keeps us from finding that love? The research says people often harbor defenses that they think will protect them from getting hurt. But this can keep them from experiencing closeness with others. And a lot of times this was for me, this part, um pushing, not letting a gentleman get too close. That's my defense mechanism. It has nothing most of the time to do with him as a person. It has more to do with me always second guessing my ability to choose right because I've chosen wrong before. And that's a natural human um response to things. It's like, if well, you touched the stove, it was hot. Now you're going to be leery about touching the stove again because it's hot. you know so it's the same way with love. You've loved, or you've attempted to love, and you trusted people, and like I said earlier, you were cheated on. You might have been the one that did the cheating or whatever, and then you thought you were forgiven, and then you was, but you really wasn't. And every time something comes up, all that, the person that was injured brings all of that back up again. And now both of you are hurt again. I don't care what anybody says. We get so angry as women. Uh, if a man cheats on us, I often uh, think like this as well. He not only hurts us, a man cheating on a woman does not only hurt the woman, he hurts himself too. And I know, I might get some pushback from the women on this. Oh, no, he's the one out there enjoying it. I promise you, some part of him is hurting. Every time he goes to be with another woman outside of his relationship with you, some part of him is hurting. He knows hurting you is hurting him. Now, if he can just go out there and sleep with anybody, his conscience doesn't bother him, he come home, sleep with you in the same night, you might be dealing with something else then. But on average, a thinking man, let me rephrase that, a reasonably thinking man won't be able to just go out there and be with everybody and doesn't have a conscience about how he's making you feel. Not if he really loves you. I just don't believe that. I don't believe that our men are that cold and just, uncaring. I don't believe that about our men. I refuse to believe that. Not because I've never been through that experience, but I just don't believe one man can identify the entire gender of what a black man is. I don't believe that. That's just not, I don't think that way. All men are the same. They're not. They're not. There are good men with morals, um, uh, with integrity, decency, all of that. Then there are those, that people like to call the four-legged animals, um, and I get that too. Just like I understand that there are really good women out there. But then there are women out there that seek and destroy good men. And by the time they finish with you, you're not good for anybody else. You shell shocked, you're damaged, you know, and it takes a hell of a lot to get you to a place of healing where you even like women again. Not that you went over to the other team, but you like women so much where you can actually love a woman again. Because, a man can have sex with you and don't feel nothing for you. I mean, don't feel a thing. Get up from you, go to the next one, um, and don't think anything about it. And then you all broke up crying, but I thought, and he was like, oh, you knew what this was from the beginning. It's like, wow, you know. So I don't want you to think that just because, a man is having sex with you, that means he loves you. Not the same thing. Not the same thing. That's not what we're talking about, okay? We're talking about the ability to take care of your heart, the ability to make sure that your mental faculties stay protected, the ability to make sure that your atmosphere is protected, the ability to make sure that you stay grounded, you and he together stay grounded, that any little thing just won't come and sweep the whole relationship, off the rug. That's what I'm talking about, okay? And so sometimes having that kind of closeness and that kind of experience, once you've been through a divorce or a bad breakup or what have you, called off an engagement or what have you, those experiences sometimes causes us to push back when love tries to come knocking again. I can honestly say for me, um, I remember, you guys know my mom passed last year. And one of the conversations she would always have when she and I talked, she would always say, I'm praying for you a good husband, Benita. You a good girl. You need a good husband, And I would say, okay, mama, okay, okay. Sometimes I'd be like, under my breath, I'd be like, girl, you can stop praying that prayer. But truthfully, I do think sometimes, that then she asked me this. She said, do you think that you're just scared? Then I had to, no, ma'am, I'm not scared. I just don't have time for the games. And she says, no, are you afraid to try to love again? Huh. I had never thought about it that way, even though I knew that's what was really going on with me. And I just didn't know how to put it into words. But when she said, are you sure you're not just afraid to love again and let somebody get close to you again? When she said it, then you know how that light bulb comes on and that clicker starts to clicking. I started thinking like, okay, maybe I am. Maybe I'm afraid of being hurt again. I don't want to hurt anyone, and I don't want to be hurt anymore. You know, um, I've hurt people. People have hurt me. I've done things to people. People have done things to me. There may be someone that say, "Well, no, she really broke my heart." You know, I don't ever want to put a man in position to where he feels like I broke his heart, because I know how that feels to be heartbroken. You know, and I think my thing has always been, you know, if I can get close to a gentleman, but not let him know how I'm really feeling, that was my deal, you know. But because I am such a passionate person, it's gonna show. You're gonna know how I feel about you sooner or later. So in order for me not to allow those feelings and those emotions to show, I would just keep everybody at bay. So it's not, and many of you, just like me, it's not a problem attracting people. You know, if in fact we did have 99 problems, attracting the opposite sex wouldn't be one of them. So that's not the problem. The problem is, uh, I don't just want attraction, I want relationship. you know I want intimacy, I want closeness. And in order for me to have that, I had to be willing to say, you know what, maybe I am afraid. Maybe I am. And here's the thing, a lot of times we don't know that we're afraid of love until somebody else starts to pull on our heartstrings of love. You won't even know that you're afraid to love again until love requires you to respond. I don't care who you are. You would have to be somebody of just a damnable nature not to respond to love. When love calls, you have to respond because love is so kind. It's gentle. It's long suffering. There's no way you can't respond when somebody's loving you right. I don't care who you are, what you say. Uh, and so a lot of times we don't even know that we're holding on or harboring these hurt feelings from our past until someone new comes along and piques your interest, and then you start kind of, you start feeling something, feeling some kind of way. You start feeling funny about that person. You want to talk to them every day. You want to hear their voice every day. And if you can't, you at least want a text message from them every day. And then you want a video chat with them every day. You want to see them every day. Something is happening with you. And then right smack in the middle of that good feeling, boom, here comes all the fear from the past, all the hurt from the past. This is what's happening. All those feelings are getting stirred up now. It's getting stirred up. Now it all comes back because, we've gone so long, taught ourselves how to be cold. I can go out with you, and don't feel a thing. Thank you, see you later, whatever. No attachment, no strings attached. Everybody love doing no strings attached. What we doing? Oh, we just going with the flow. Oh, we just kicking it. Child, you too old still to be just kicking it and trying to go with the flow. You about to drown. Anyhow, all these feelings start stirring up. Every hurt you've gone through starts trying to come out of there. Anger starts coming out of there. The loss that you feel starts coming out of your heart. The rejection, how dare they leave me? They didn't want me? I did all I could. You still didn't want me? The rejection starts coming out. All of that starts flooding to the surface of your heart when your heart realizes that it hadn't been loved in a while. You want it, you crave it, you long for it, but you got so much other stuff in there because you're still trying to figure out, why does love hurt? I mean, like, dang, like, why does feel this bad? Well, that's a good question. And I think a lot of times we get hurt because we put too much, we have too many expectations. I think that if we reevaluate what relationships are really about and reevaluate this love thing, I think we'll find that what we have done, we have put too much expectation on the individual that's trying to love us. We want them to do more than just love us. We want them to make us happy. We want them to make us smile. We want them, to make us forget about the last person that hurt us. That's a hell of a job to put on somebody. That's a hell of a weight to put on somebody, and I say it like this: listen, I can't fix you in areas where I didn't break you, because I wouldn't know where to start, because I didn't break you. I wasn't there. I had nothing to do with it. I'm coming in fresh, and all I know is I'm feeling you, you feeling me, we both feeling some kind of way, but then we got this wall between us that's won't let us come together because you keep pushing back, and then I push back, you push back, and by the time we keep pushing, we've pushed ourselves apart, and then now my interest is gone. That's how I work. My interest is gone now because you've shown me that what I'm trying to give you is not what you want. The love that I'm trying to give you is not what you want. And the love you may be trying to give me is not what I want, because we got all this other stuff going on. We're still trying to compare, well, when I was in love with that person, well, I tried love before over here. I tried love before over there. And so we start comparing apples to oranges and this person to that person, and hoping that what I had 20 years ago, I can get it again. And what I had 40 years ago, I can find it again. And when we do that, we set ourselves up for utter failure, because what we're in essence saying, that if I want that love that I had 20 years ago, that love I had 40 years ago, in essence, what I'm saying is that no other love will do. No other person will do. And you will forever compare a new love to an old love. And here's the thing, if the old love was so loving, then why did that love leave? I say it again. If the old love was so loving, then why did that love leave? Why did that love not last? And that's something I had to ask myself. When I started looking at a gentleman as a potential, relationship, is this husband material, and women, let me just put something in here. Just because a man chooses you, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to choose him. I'm just, that's for free. If he doesn't feel right for you, if he doesn't feel like, no, this is not what I really need in my life, it's okay to say that. I would rather people start saying, before they get engaged, before they all on Facebook, I said yes, this, that, and the third, have us all excited. And then y'all break up and y'all don't say nothing. And then we left wondering, so y'all still getting married? Like, what's going on? Then y'all get mad and get on Facebook. People need to mind their own business. Well, we were, until you put us in your business, and what happens a lot of times, we put the, we put the cart before the horse, and we have not taken the time to get to know this individual, before we make a public display of that affection that's really still in its infantry state. I think that before we start making these big announcements and things of that nature, I think we need to make sure we got all this other stuff cleared up, so that we'll know that we're going somewhere with this. And this is not just for the moment. We just not feeling good for the moment. You know what I mean? And so sometimes the fear of an unequal relationship or the possibility of losing one's partner can keep someone from taking the risk of falling in love. Love is tricky. It's tricky. Love is tricky. But I do believe it can be so divine. I just believe, call me a hopeless romantic or what have you, but I believe in love. I do. As tough as I try to be on my exterior, honey, I'm just a warm, mushy heart on the inside. Trust me. If you ever get close to me, you'll know that about me. I cry easily. I love easily, and I can forget about you just as easy too, So why are we so afraid of love? And if we know we've been through things, why won't we go to therapy? Why won't we go do the work? Why don't we go and see what's going on? Why don't we go and see what it will take for us to get healthy again? Like, one of the things I discuss with my therapist is the fear of choosing wrong again, the fear of loving the wrong person again, the fear of marrying the wrong person again, and then it doesn't work out. That's a fear that I have, hands down. That's my biggest fear, because I know me. I'm a very passionate person by nature, very passionate. My love is passionate. My passion is passionate. My sensuality is passionate. My sexuality is passionate. And my anger is passionate. I'm a passionate person. And sometimes that works not always for my good, because once I feel comfortable with you, then you get a glimpse inside of, you go past that outer, you know, I don't need nobody kind of exterior that I have sometimes. You get to go past that, you know. Um, Most men don't get past that because they don't even know how to talk to the exterior. If you can't talk to my exterior, you'll never get a chance to talk to my mind. Because my mind, that's I protect my mind like I protect my life. You know, on God, like they say. If you can't even hold a conversation and stay focused in that moment with me, then all you're doing is reaching the exterior. You're only reaching my exterior. You're not tuning into me. We're not in tune. Okay. So let's look at this. The story of lost love is one, like I said earlier. Most of us can say we've been in love, and then something happened. The relationship came to an end, the marriage came to an end, or what have you. Um, and then we try to figure out, so why do relationships fall apart? What is the number one reason relationships fall apart? And I think if we really had answers to, like concrete answers to these questions, I just think everybody be in love and nobody will get out of love. Nobody go through divorce. Relationships will never break up. If we had these answers, we don't have all the answers. So we just have to keep having these kind of conversations until we come up on something that says, hey, that triggered me to start thinking, you know what, I probably need to make an appointment to go see if I can get my primary to recommend a therapist to me. I didn't know I was still harboring that. I think conversations are good because they make us aware, not just about what's going on externally, but they make us aware also of what's going on internally. And like I shared with you earlier, like when my mom turned that light on for me when she asked me, was I just afraid of trying love again? I didn't think about it that way. I knew that's what it was, but I didn't think about it to say that I was afraid. I would say, well, it's just men are just not good. I would not take accountability to say, no, there are some good men out there, Benita. You just scared to give somebody a try. So when I start taking that kind of accountability to say, you know, um, it's not that all men are bad. It's just that you may have had bad experiences with the men you've chosen. So now you got to redirect your picker. You got to fine tune your picker. You got to fix your picker so that you're not picking the same type of people that you have in the past that caused you to get to the point where now you're saying, man, love hurts too bad. I don't know why love gotta hurt so bad. You say, I don't know if I even want to get involved with anybody. Maybe I just be by myself, or maybe I just date, be a serial dater, or maybe I'll just, go here, do this, or what have you. Maybe I just be in a long-term relationship with no real commitment. All these things come to surface, but what we're failing to say is, I'm accountable now for the fear that's in me. That's what I had to do. That's the realization I had to come to. It wasn't about so much about this person or that person or what men were not doing. It was the fact that you can say something, one word I didn't like, and that's it. I'm out. Just no tolerance, but what that really was about, that was a defense mechanism. It didn't have anything to do with that person, because I was the master of ghosting. Miss Ghost, call me Miss Casper, because I'm gone, you know. Um, but it had nothing to do with the individual. I found out that it had more to do with me being afraid, even to say that I'm afraid. We're afraid to admit that we're afraid. We're afraid to say, I'm really starting to have feelings for you, but I'm afraid. We can't even get that far because we're not honest. We're not even honest within ourselves. So if I'm not being honest with Benita, you know good and well I'm not going to be honest with a gentleman that comes along and shows an interest in me. So I had to get to that point to where I did the work because I wanted to know, is it me? Is it love? Why does it hurt? Is it I'm picking the wrong people? Am I attracting the wrong kind of people to me? Like, what's the deal? And the funny thing about it was this. When I asked my therapist that question, I said, well, how come this type of man is attracted to me? She said, let's try something different. Let's try something different. She said, why do you think you attract that type of man? What? She says, why do you think you attract that type of man? First thing I did was got defensive because now she's asking me to take accountability. Now she wants me to say that I had something to do with the kind of man that I was with. Yeah. That's when the healing started. Yeah. That's when it started to feel really good inside of my heart. That's when I started to feel all that stuff that we talked about earlier, the hurt, the anger, the rejection, the loss, all of that started just flowing, like gushing out of my heart. Because now I don't have to look at him and, with that evil eye and be like, you did this to me and da, 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 da. Now I can look introspectively and said, this is what you allowed. This is the kind of treatment you allowed. You don't have to allow that anymore. Your worth is more than that. You deserve better than that. So that comes with taking accountability, though. And I'm going to put a pin here and say this to women. Women, that's hard for us to do. That's hard, especially as Black women. It's hard for us to take accountability, because we really thrive on, oh, he ain't ish, Black men ain't this, they're not that. We drive home on that, and we can fill up a whole wagon, a whole bandwagon, and we just gonna ride off into the sunset with each other. I'm not going with y'all, okay? Because I love the brethren. All right, I just thought I'd let y'all know that. And so that takes the accountability off of us. If we just put all men in this bucket, in this barrel, and make all of them no good, make all of them liars, make all of them cheaters, make all of them, not good financial providers, make all of them whatever. It takes away any accountability on our part as women. The growth comes in when you're able to say, there were some things I said to hurt him as well. There were some things I said that might have broken his spirit as well. There were some things I should have known about myself as well. I should not have allowed somebody to tell me who I was. I should have learned who I was. And if I didn't know, if like some of y'all got married young, I got married like right after high school. Some of you got married like I did, really young. Stayed married 20 years, was in ministry, in the church, all that good stuff. And it just didn't work, And so when you have that, it's easy to want to point fingers. And it's very difficult to do your homework because homework is hard. I don't care what nobody tell you. Homework is really hard. It's hard to do homework when you got to do homework on yourself. You are the study guide. You are the test. You are the notes. Everything about this homework assignment is you. You. Every chapter in that book is you, from cover to cover, from front to back. That entire book is about you. And most of us as women, we don't want to do the hard work. We don't want to do the homework because it's easier to just blame all men. And then when a good man does come along, you're either going to do one or two things. You're going to reject them, which will work out really well for him because you're not ready for him, or you'll take him in and you'll make him just like you. You'll take a good man and you'll make him just like you. And so I want to encourage all of us, do your homework. Admit when you have a fear. You know, I mean, like, what's the worst that can happen? Somebody knows you're not Superwoman. Somebody knows you're not Superman. I mean, like, and I'd rather have a conversation with a gentleman and he is honest and open with me, completely vulnerable, and say to me, Benita, I don't know, I'm feeling something for you, but I'm afraid because I've been hurt. I can respect the hell out of a man like that. You know, I can respect him and not only respect him, you know, that'll gain him some ground in my eyes because that's grown up stuff. Because you got to be grown enough, not just in age, but in your mind, in your social skills, in your thinking, how you deal with other people. You got to be grown enough to say, this is what is going on, not with the other person, not the finger pointing, but what's going on in me. Okay. So that question, why does love hurt? Why do relationships fail? It lingers heavily in the back of all of our minds. You know, the answer for many of us, you know, guess where you're going to find the answer at? Within yourself. Within yourself. I remember talking to this gentleman, and he was so persistent. Oh, my goodness. He wanted to know, why did you get divorced? Why did you get divorced? He just kept asking. I said, were you ever married? Yes. How long were you married? 20 years. What happened? We got divorced. I don't know you enough to divulge all my secrets and my hurts and my pains. I don't know you well enough. We're having an initial conversation. He says, I know, but what happened? We got divorced. I know, but how come y'all are no longer married? Because we got a divorce. And when we got a divorce, we stopped being married. Okay, I understand. Right, leave that alone. You want in, but you haven't paid the price of admission. I'm not just going to open up and share all of my heart and vulnerabilities with somebody that I don't trust, and somebody that's not willing to be open and honest with me. Or I've run into gentlemen, they'll tell me all of their business first, and they're like, okay, now you tell me. I didn't ask you all of that. That's not what I do. That's not how you get me to talk to you. That's not how you get me to share and open up with you. You get me to talk to you because I've gotten to know you in a way that I feel safe talking to you. I'm guarded. I'll be the first one to admit it. I'm guarded. But I'm not so guarded that you can't get in. You just got to know the right keys. Okay. So the answer to why does love hurt? Why does the relationships not work? Is mostly you can look within yourself and find that. Well, most of the time it's because you haven't let go of what you used to have. You know, it's hard to love a person that's still loving on the memory of somebody else. You know, y'all not together, and all you have is the memory of when you all were together. And people can hold on so long to memories until that's all they really have are memories. They block themselves out from new love, new life, new memories, new moments, new intimacy, new passion, new compassion, all of that, because they're hanging on to something that is no longer there, And I've never seen anything like, maybe it's just kind of my nature, like I said, I've grown to the point where you don't get a second chance to show me you don't want me. You don't get that chance. If I'm feeling some kind of vibe from you, why would you want to be with somebody that's showing you they don't want to be with you? Why are you still longing for them? That's something I don't understand. So whether we know it or not, most of us are just afraid of really being in love. No, I'm not afraid of being in love. No, because I haven't been in love before. No, I'm not afraid. Well, you've been in love before, but are you in love with anybody now? Are you still single? Or do you have the relationship, the love, the companionship that you desire? Or are you still holding on to memories of someone you loved and then lost? It's hard to compete with that. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard to compete with somebody who's not over a love that they lost. And it's so unfair. That's one of the things I ran into on the dating sites too. A lot of men, in their later years are, just kind of, they've gone through divorce or breakups or what have you. And they just have a problem letting go. The woman done moved on. She with somebody else. She done got remarried, and they're still angry. They're hurt. They're angry that, whatever caused it, the breakup, they did. And when I would talk to some of them, I could hear it come out of them. They would say, well, you women or black women, they will always have something not nice to say. And from that, I can easily assess and discern that this person is still carrying a lot of hurt, a lot of hurt, a lot of unresolved hurt, and sometimes relationships break up and they just don't work, and people don't have everybody want closure. Once we done, that's enough closure for me. I don't need to meet with you again. I don't need you to take me out to dinner one last time. We don't need to tangle around in the sheets one last time. We don't need to do none of that. If we done, we done. If we getting divorced, we getting divorced. Period, point blank. I don't need that's enough closure for me, because 9 times out of 10, my heart was already closing before we got to the breakup part. Because you really start breaking up before you actually break up. So that's one of the main things I found in my experimenting on the dating apps is that it's a lot of men out there that are hurt. They're hurt because either they were done wrong, or they're still hurting because they did wrong and they never thought they would get caught, or they never thought they would lose their families or what have you. But everybody got a limit now. Okay? So while our fears may manifest themselves in different ways or show themselves at different stages of a relationship, we all harbor defenses that we believe on some level will protect us from getting hurt. And remember, I shared with you, my greatest defense mechanism was that pushback, and just slowly coming away from conversating so much, where we used to talk every day, several times a day, what have you. Now I might talk to you every 3 or 4 days, You know, that's me. I'm starting to my defense mechanism is starting to kick in because we've spent so much time conversating. And for me, good conversation builds intimacy for me. You know, I don't even have to be in your presence, but a good conversation, a good sound conversation, a good intelligent conversation for me builds intimacy, you know, particularly if you are a bit of a wordsmith, you know, um, that's just, it's just so appealing to me. It just, I'm really attracted to intelligent men, you know, and if you're not that intelligent, then I'm going to be honest. And this is something I had to stop doing. I had to stop saying, oh, but I can get past that. I can't get past that because that's something I'm so passionate about. And so we set ourselves up sometimes because we are too afraid to put our foot down and say, this is what I want. This is what I don't want. We're too afraid because everybody keep telling you, oh, you want too much from a man, or you want too much from a woman, or you got this crazy list of requirements and nobody can meet your list of requirements. And so we start scratching down and dumbing down our list. And women and men, we start dumbing down ourselves, you know, just so we can meet somebody else's criteria of what they're looking for based on causing them to rise to the occasion so they can be what we're looking for as well. You don't always have to dim your light just to attract somebody, you know, from what, you know, somebody else. I'm not going to do it anymore. You know, I like a certain type of gentleman, you know, and I have not met one yet that has all of what I'm looking for. And then somebody might say, well, you're not going to find somebody that can meet. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I don't believe that. I don't believe that, because even if he don't have but 10% of this, what I want right here, he got some of that in him. Over here, if he got 25% of this right here on my list, he got some in him. And it's not my job to try to come in and critique that 25% or critique that 10%. That's God's man. God made man. That's his man. My job is to come in and make sure I come in a whole person, a whole woman, a submissive woman, a thinking woman, a processing woman, a woman that can get underneath his vision and share the vision with him. Whatever his vision is for the home, for businesses, for the future, for ministry, whatever the vision is, my job is not to come in trying to critique whatever percentage of this or that he has that's on my list. It's just that you got to have some of these things on the list. I'm just not going to go without what I want any longer. We don't have to do that, you know. And people tell you, well, you better get what you can, you know, time winding up, and, you know, people leaving this earth every day. Yeah, we all going to leave here someday. That don't mean I'm going to get in a hurry and just get anything. We was talking about, I put up a post, and one of the comments said that's a piece of man is better than no man at all mentality. And so many women have that mentality, because, you know, it's either you're going to wind up single, or they're telling you got to share a man. I ain't going to do neither if I don't want to, you know. So, I mean, all of us have built in our defense mechanism. It doesn't matter who you are. It don't matter if you're a male. I'm talking about a masculine male man. You have some defense mechanism built up in you, particularly if you've been hurt before. You've gone through a divorce or relationship breakup or anything of that nature. Somebody cheated on you, or you cheated on somebody and they never forgave you. That's hurt. That's a hurting feeling, knowing that this person never forgave you. That hurts. But at some point, if you knew in your heart you really was repentive of hurting that person and they still never forgive you, perhaps it's just time to move on. Because what you don't want to do, you don't want to always be, walking on eggshells and you don't know where the landmines are. You got to always be tiptoeing through the entire relationship because you don't know where they set the landmines, and you don't know at any moment something gonna go off, and it has nothing to do with what's current. Most of the arguments have something to do with something that we already discussed. We thought we dealt with it, but boom, here it is again. So one of my greatest, I'll share another one of my defense mechanism is just busy. And so when I say I'm busy, I don't have to lie because I'm busy, But then I start thinking, if I tell someone, if a gentleman says, well, are you ready for a relationship? And I'm like, yeah. But then I stay so busy, I don't have time for him or make time for him, either one or two things have happened. This is just me. One or two things have happened. Either I wasn't honest with him from the beginning, or I was honest, but I didn't expect to start having feelings for him. And when I realized I was having feelings for him, I had to hurry up and throw that wall up before he realized that I was having feelings for him. And I've done that so long. And never felt like I had to give anybody an explanation, to why, But there were some good gentlemen that may have been suitable husbands. But back then I wasn't ready, I wasn't emotionally ready, And I don't care what anybody says. You can have a list from Kalamazoo. If you know you're not, and that person can meet check every box. But if you know you're not ready for the type of person that you say you want, let that person stay there for a second. You work on you. Work on yourself. And that's what I did. I took a long time and I worked on myself until I could get to the point where I no longer saw a man as something I didn't want. I no longer saw a man as something that would hurt me. I no longer saw him that way. So I see men in a different way. I have for years. It's not always popular among my female friends or associates or what have you, but it is what it is. And I think when we all just stop and do our work, we'll find out that most of the stuff that we're afraid of was more internal than external. Okay? So the defense mechanism may be, it offers us a false illusion of safety and security. And that's what I thought I was doing. I thought I was just protecting my heart. Nobody's going to hurt me like that again. But listen to what the research says. It says we think that we're protecting ourselves to feel safe and secure. We have that false illusion. But what we're really doing, listen to this, what we're really doing is keeping ourselves from attaining the closeness we most desire. The thing that we crave the most, our defense mechanisms are what's keeping us from getting it. Wouldn't it be extraordinarily enlightening if one day you woke up and your defense mechanism was down and the person that you're supposed to be with, has been right there, someone all along. But both of you were afraid to give the other a chance. So you pushed, And before long, you guys just kept pushing until you were no longer interested. Or one was still interested and the other one, was not. What if? What if you do the hard work and say, you know what? I've been giving myself a false sense of security, but all of these layers, all these mechanisms, defense mechanisms that I've developed over time. What if? That's the things that's keeping you from getting the love you really crave. I mean, you want it. You need it. If you are really passionate and you're a loving person, I don't care who you are, you can tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. You can say whatever you want to say. There's something in you that will always crave for that loving you to be responded to. Always. Always. And me, if I can't have love the way I want it and the way I crave it, I don't want it at all. I'm not going to play with it. I'm not going to entertain something I know I don't want. I'm not going to entertain a gentleman that I know does not have the capacity to love me the way I want to be loved. When I can see you're not going to match this kind of energy that I have, you're not going to be able to come where I am. We're not going to be on the same level mentally about love and passion and romance and all of these things that come with putting those walls and those barriers away, because the thing we love the most and the thing we desire the most, we're the ones that's keeping ourselves from it because we're afraid to do the hard work. Taking introspection, man, that's hard work. That's the hardest thing you'll ever do as an adult is look internally and say, okay, I need to work on this. I need to forget about what they did. They did what they did. You stayed where you stayed. And now it's over. Now let's work on you. Now let's get you healed so you can get the love you really desire. And a lot of us, the thing that's keeping us from love is not that it's not available. It's good people out there everywhere. But we're too afraid to open up to them. I was absolutely afraid to open my heart to anybody, give anybody a chance. If I start feeling a little twinkle of anything for a gentleman, I'm ready to back up because I know how easy it is for me to love a man. And I know how easy it is for him to fall in love with me. I'm easy to fall in love with, honey. Don't y'all sell yourself short now. I'm easy to fall in love with. I am. I just am. Because I've done my work. I know what I want. I know what I don't want. And I don't even subscribe to the notion of what we bring into the table. Where we get that from? That has kept so many people single. All this, what you bring to the table, green bean casserole. I mean, like, what else you want to eat? That's what I'm gonna put on the table. Don't. If a man asks me what I'm bringing to the table, that's probably gonna be his last conversation he gonna have with me. Don't ask me what I'm bringing to no table. I don't know. These new school men I hear, I don't know. I'm old fashioned. One guy told me, you too old fashioned and that's why you gonna stay that way. I said, okay, you say so. I just won't be with you. And that's why you mad, in my plies voice. You mad. You want to argue? I don't want to argue because I ain't mad, So you have to take introspection. Y'all, we got to do the hard work. If you want to love, get your heart free so you can love. Quit putting love off like you got a long time. Especially those of us in our 40s and 50s and 60s. Stop acting like you're still a teenager. You around here waiting for somebody to say, oh, I just felt something when I walked by you. Child, get over that mess. Get over that. Have an intelligent conversation. Because I promise you, love is more than a feeling. It's more than a notion. You know, love is a monumental. It's just it's bigger than what we know about. You know, there's so much that can come into being in love first with yourself, then you can love somebody. That's probably the biggest problem. A lot of y'all don't know how to love yourself. But when I fell in love with this girl, baby, she is a force to be reckoned with when it comes to treating her right. You're going to either treat me right or you're going to go left. We don't have no second chances. We're not doing none of that. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. We too grown. We get too old. We got children and grandchildren. You know, come on, y'all. Some of y'all got great grandchildren still around here playing games. Get yourself in therapy. Unlock the hurt in your heart. Get all that stuff out your heart. You just go from relationship to relationship. And if you're a man, it's a woman's fault. If you're a woman, it's the man's fault. When are we gonna take accountability and just stop for a minute? You know, take yourself out the dating scene. Some of y'all need to come off some of these dating sites because y'all are not ready for what y'all say y'all want. And to me, you're misleading people, you know, and that's dishonest and it shows a lack of integrity. And I'm here to tell you, it shows a lack of integrity. You're too old to be saying one thing and still doing another. You 50, 60, 70, 100, stop all that. Stop that. You making men look bad for the rest of them. Ladies, stop playing these little head games with these men. You making our women look like we fickle and don't know what we want. Some of us know exactly what we want, exactly what we don't want. One guy said, well, just tell me what you want. No, I'm not going to tell you what I want because then you'll become that just to get me. Well, how's he going to know? Well, he'll know that over time. He'll learn that through our just casual conversating. You know, if our conversation goes from casual to intimate conversation, and then from intimacy to vulnerable conversation, where we're both just really open and we're not ashamed to share our past hurts and our past dislikes and what we're looking for towards the future. That's when you learn all of that stuff. You don't just come out the gate and get to know all of that. Not about me. Why? Because I've done too much work on me to just give anybody the keys to my heart. I know what I want. I know what I don't want. We're not talking about what I bring to the table. I'm not asking you what you bring to the table. Honey, as long as we can eat. Period. If you meet me, I meet you. We establish any kind of rapport that we see that this might be able to be something. Then by you being around me, you'll learn certain things about me. By me being around you, I'll learn certain things about you because I pay attention. You know, I don't just study people because I'm a psychology major. I study people because I need to know people. I want to know about you. And sometimes men are not going to just open up and tell you everything you want to know. Sometimes you got to just kind of sit back and I know y'all don't like me to say this, women, but sometimes you got to learn how to be quiet, just sit back and observe him in his natural habitat, in his space. You know, just have to sit back and observe. What's on your mind? And none right now. Okay, well, sometimes you got to leave it at that. Just leave it at that. None. It ain't nothing. Sometimes leave it at that. Because I promise you this, if you become wise enough as a woman and skilled enough and patient enough and trusting enough, he'll come back and tell you on his own without you having to ask. I promise you it works just like that. I promise you that's the way it works. You can't pry yourself into a man's heart. He has to let you in. Our hearts are more pliable, some of us, if you're not a bitter, broken woman, if you are, again, get yourself in therapy, do the hard work, pick up a book, let that book first be about you. Every page, every chapter, every index, everything from cover to cover, let that book be about you getting your healing before you get anybody else's life tangled up into you. So if you have a fear of love, you're going to have a fear of closeness. You got a fear of closeness, you're going to have a fear of intimacy. And if you have a fear of intimacy, you're going to have a fear of being vulnerable. Because all of that comes together. It's like a ripple effect. It just starts. And when it flows, it's so sweet. It's so sweet. Women, you don't have to nag. You don't have to holler. You don't have to fuss, fight, push, pull, or drag information out of a gentleman. When you make him feel safe enough to become vulnerable with you, he'll talk to you. He'll open up. He'll tell you, this is where I'm hurting. This is why I'm afraid. This is what I did in the past. This is what was done to me in the past. This is where I messed up. I don't want to mess up like this anymore. And the whole while he's talking, one or two things are going across his mind. I hope she don't use this against me. Or he's finally free now. He's free because he's found somebody in whom he can be himself. He can be vulnerable. He can be loved. He can feel safe. We want to be protected physically. We want to be provided for, protected, and all of that because we are women. But men want to feel safe with their women. We want to feel safe and protected by them because they are a man. They want to feel safe and vulnerable with us because we're the one that they love. And it's dangerous for you to put your man in a position where he can't talk to you or he's afraid to talk to you, because every time he opens up to you, you say one piece of what he said, one piece of his heart. So when you get mad, you got something that you'll get the rest of his heart with. And you use that as your dagger, And women, that's one of the main reasons men don't allow themselves to be vulnerable with women. But I tell you this, and I'm closing. If you become, and I know women, I was watching a movie earlier today, and this couple went to marriage counseling, and the husband had cheated, and they had gotten back together. They had just had a new baby, all that good stuff. And the lady said something to her. She said, you have to make him feel wanted again. You have to stop making him pay for the mistakes that you say you forgave him for. She said, why do I have to do the work? Why do I have to be the one to keep trying to hold it together? She said to her, you're not trying to hold it together. You're trying to get you together. I was like, oh, I lived in that moment. And ladies, that's what I'm telling you tonight as we get ready to close. Next week, we're going to start going over these keys of why Why are so many people afraid to love again? Why does love hurt so bad? You know, why? Is it even possible to find true love? I mean, a real love with somebody that can match that love energy in you? If you're a passionate person, can you really find somebody that can match that passion or that will love that passion? If you're a person that um, your love language is service, that's one of my love languages, service. Um, will you find someone who enjoys being served, who appreciates it without taking advantage of it, without being, overbearing with it, but understand I serve you because serving you brings me pleasure, because that's one of my love languages. And when I serve very well. So serving gives me pleasure. Learn your love languages and then find someone that can match that energy. You know, stop selling for people who are total opposites of you. I know they say opposites attract. I don't know where to get that from. I don't want anybody that's the total opposite of me, because I don't want to push, pull, fight, none of that. I don't want to do none of that. I don't want to do any of that. I don't. If we're going to have a situation, we're going to have a situation to where uh, it doesn't have to be, fireworks all the time. We don't have to do all of that. We don't have to do all that. You talk to me, I talk to you. If I do something you don't like, you tell me, and you give me that same courtesy. Everything don't have to always blow up all the time. We don't have to just always end up in an argument all the time, particularly when we get a certain age. Um, so listen, I know I said a lot tonight, and I know I'm giving you a lot of challenges tonight, because anytime someone challenges us to be introspective, those are hard challenges, because it's easier for us to say, well, men are like this, and or women are like that, but it's difficult for us to say, I'm like this. This is who I am. This is where I'm hurting. This is where I need to be healed. So once you do the work on the inside of you, then it'll be clear to you. Um, love. It'll be easy for you to love. And it won't be such a chore for someone to love you. Loving you should not be a chore. It should be a pleasure. It should be a gift. I think we make love so hard because we don't want to do the hard work to get to love. Does that make sense to anybody? I hope so. All right, guys. So Thursday, I'm going to come back with part 2. And during part 2, we're going to talk about how vulnerable, when you have real love, baby, real love makes you vulnerable. I'm just going to tell you. If you're not ready to be vulnerable, you ought not try to be in love with nobody. Because when you get somebody that shows you love, doesn't want anything from you but to love you, I promise you, that kind of love will cause you to be vulnerable. It will. All right. All right, guys. So listen, don't forget, we're still working on getting our Patreon page, getting some stuff to start going over there. If you haven't seen our trailer for our Patreon page, I love to show it off. Let me show you this real quick. And let's see. And we're going to be out of here. And then I'll be back Thursday with you guys to do part 2. Okay. Let's see. Oh, no, not that one. Oh, here it is.
entertaining, provocative, and always uncensored.
Behind the Curtain with Vanita Bradley.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back again Thursday, same time, same channel. I would like to have a few of you as my guests. I'm working on getting a few gentlemen to come on because I want to hear from them as well. I want to hear why are so many men afraid to love again? You know, I want to hear from the gentlemen. So we'll see if I have someone on with me Thursday. If not, you know, I can handle it by myself. So we'll see you guys on Thursday at 7 o'clock. Thank you so much, Instagram. Thank you, Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope, Twitter. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.